I hope you can hear me now. Please, someone let me know that you can hear me. Can anyone hear me? No, still can't hear me. What is happening here then, I wonder, with this? Can anyone hear? Yes, we can now. Brilliant. Yeah, technical issues, people. A few people have texted to say StreamYard's playing up tonight, and it's obviously going to play up for me too. Thank you for letting me know in the chat as well. I'm so glad I did this live. Imagine if I did this pre-recorded and I just did a whole chat of me just talking and nobody hearing. I hope anyone's good at lip reading. Big up to all of you in the chat. Apologies for that. I don't know what was going on. It said I had no camera. It said I had no audio. I can definitely hear and I can definitely see. Unfortunately, you couldn't hear me, but we can now. So apologies for that, people. Bit of a late start, bit of a crazy start. Do you know what? It's been a bit of a crazy day. We've had some mad rumors. We've got some crazy transfer news to talk about. All rumors. A lot of Man City fans are losing their heads already. It's not true. He's not going anywhere. They don't want to. They don't want to admit that there are some rumors about. That is all they are at the moment. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk a little bit, of course, about Manchester City tonight, who, let's be real, have had a very quiet window. It's been very nice as a City fan. They're sitting there with their squad. No problems with FFP at the moment. It doesn't look like anything's happening there. It doesn't look like anything's going to be going wrong with them in terms of this court stuff. Looks like the 115's gone all quiet. So they're sitting there chilling. They've won their Premier League. They've enjoyed watching the Euros, chilling out. And now all of a sudden, they're the talk of the town again. This is what it's like when you're Manchester City, I suppose. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Big up to all of you in the chat, by the way. So many of you here already. Over 120 of you already. That's brilliant stuff. Please make sure you do me a favor, of course. Hit the like button. Hit the way to 30K. So please make sure we do that, people. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about how likely this is to happen. KDB and Ederson, both linked with moves away to the Saudi League. Now, of course, Arsenal fans are praying that this is true. And I can't sit there and lie and say that I wouldn't be very happy if these two players were to leave. Why? Because they've caused chaos for the last 5 to 6 years, and even more than that in some instances. Pep Guardiola and his team have been phenomenal, and anything that can try to disrupt that, any Arsenal fan would, of course, welcome that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about other players that are looking like they're on their way from the Premier League to the Saudi League. The Saudi League is something that now is just going to be part of everyday speaking in terms of transfers. There's going to be sources every single day that's going to link that. And I remember years ago when people were being linked, players were being linked to America, then it was China, and it kind of died, didn't it, after about, a season, maybe 2? Now I don't think that's going to happen. For some reason, this Saudi link is just, it's going and going and going. And I think it's going to come every season and it's going to hit teams very, very hard. Now, I have got no problem with players going over there. It doesn't bother me. But I think it's a stupid move if you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, even late 20s. When you get to your 30s, like N'Golo Kante, and you decide to go and take a move over there, I don't think it's a bad scenario, personally, because you go and have 3-4 years of football on a hell of a lot of money. So when you're touching 30, like KDB is now, and Ederson, I mean, KDB's into his 30s, I kind of understand why they might be tempted. The money is ridiculous. Now, some people look at it differently and go, you go anywhere because, let's be real, it's money and money talks. And some people look at it as you're 25, you go over to the Saudi League, and then you go 3-4 years, make a load of money, pay off everything for your family, and then come back to the Premier League or the European leagues. And it's like, we've made a lot of money. So I kind of see it in both. But I kind of don't always believe the grass is greener. I don't look at football as a career that is just about, I want to make as much money as I can. Football's about winning. But football's about winning the best trophies. Football's about winning major honours. And I don't believe that somebody at 25 who's won nothing in football should go over to the Saudi League and win everything over there and make themselves a lot of money and then look back at their career and go, I am proud of that. I think it would be a hell of a lot more impressive to look at your career in the European competitions that you're in, winning Champions Leagues, winning a European league domestically, and winning domestic cups. I don't think the Saudi League is great to watch. The games you hear about, that you see, highlights you see, it's kind of like watching, I don't know how to explain it, testimonial or charity matches, some of it. You've got the quality players, but the actual squad itself is poor. You've got 5 or 6 talented boys and the rest of them are pretty poor. I don't think it's going to make it personally. They've got the money, but have they got the happiness of players? Players are starting to believe maybe it wasn't the best choice. Now, the lifestyle was superb, I'm sure, right? But Jordan Henderson soon found out it weren't that great, and he went back. He's now at Ajax, I believe. And I wonder if you'll see that a few times. But let's talk about the rumours here. Now, the rumours at the moment, of course, are that Fabrizio Romano has suggested that the KDB rumours are actually not going to happen. So Fabrizio Romano's latest tweet on Kevin De Bruyne was 2 hours ago. And it says the Saudi sources have played down reports about KDB reaching an agreement with Al-Ittihad. It's told it is not true. They are focused on Moussa Diaby's deal, which is set to be sealed very soon. More on that in a minute. The next step for Saudi club will be the new goalkeeper. Ederson talks, but not easy. Now, a lot of people are going to be happy with that if you're a Man City fan. They're going to say, there we go, told you. It's Manchester City. It's Fabrizio Romano, KDB staying. These are just rumours at the moment. We have no idea if KDB is going to stay at Manchester City. We have no idea if KDB is going to go to Saudi Arabia. But these reports have been quite a while now. I believe he would be interested. Would Manchester City sell him? I don't think they want to. I wouldn't be wanting to sell KDB if I'm Manchester City until he couldn't walk. The guy is one of the best, if not the best midfielder in terms of a creative one that we've seen in the Premier League. And people have had that debate before about Lampard, Gerrard and Scholes and whether KDB is better than all of them. I'm not here to do that tonight, but what I am going to say is that he's one of the best players I have seen in the Premier League when it comes to passing, when it comes to delivery of pass, weight of pass, assists, when it comes to controlling games, when it comes to taking your club to the next level, when it comes to moments in games. I think he's phenomenal. I think his delivery is one of the best that I've seen. I've been so impressed with him. So I believe with KDB, where we're at, is Manchester City 100% will want to try and keep hold of him. I've got no doubt. But at the same time, he's got 1 year left, hasn't he? So he could just go for free. And that would be a disaster. One of the best players leaving for free. So he's got to either sign a new deal or go this summer. Surely. There's no just keep him and he leaves and goes on a free. Because unless KDB, you believe, has got only 1 more year left of football and you just let him go for free, surely this guy's got a couple of years left. I mean, he's not showing any decline as a footballer in terms of his quality. He might not be able to play 40 games this season, but let's be real. If you're keeping him for 20 or 30, fair play. Even if you're keeping him for 15, then he's got to be worth it, right? I would argue that Manchester City would not have won the league without KDB last year. No chance. So, of course, Arsenal and any of the other teams that believe they're going to be in with a title or should be in with a title race are going to be absolutely lapping this up, this news, and hoping that it's true. Because you are getting reports from Romano that it might not be happening, and then you're getting other reports from other sources saying that it probably is going to be happening. So what do we believe? Where do we go here? This is looking very, very likely as far as the Mail are concerned. They're suggesting that Kevin De Bruyne has agreed personal terms with Al-Ittihad. Manchester City are apparently willing to sell with his contract ending in 2025. That's come from Mail Sport. Now, I'm not saying they're reliable or unreliable. If I'm honest with you, they're not people that I would go and say I would put my house on getting things right. Fabrizio Romano, however, is somebody who is 100%. And he is he's not poo-pooed it, but he has kind of suggested that it might not be true. And it might be that there is other things going on or other players going on. And that is something that I would believe. Fabrizio Romano is someone I 100% believe and agree. He's probably the one that I go to. I'd say he's the GOAT, as people like to call it. And this is the quote I read out earlier about how it's not true and that KDB is not reaching an agreement with Al-Ittihad. He's played down those reports, and Saudi sources apparently are suggesting that this is the case too. But of course, there is rumours about Moussa Diaby and that deal set to be sealed very soon. And then there's the link to Ederson, who they're looking at next, which we'll come on to in a minute. So if Fabrizio Romano tweets that out, he's pretty confident, if I'm honest. Now, he's not saying it's not going to happen. He's just saying that they've not reached an agreement. He doesn't say he's not agreed personal terms. That could be the case. You know, KDB could be so set on his place to Saudi Arabia that he could say, yep, this is the wages I want. This is the signing I want. This is everything I need. But you've got to agree a fee now with Manchester City. So maybe Romano means that. But there's definitely not any form of agreement reached in terms of this signing. So that's something that we need to take into consideration for sure. And it doesn't mean that KDB is not leaving Manchester City. It doesn't mean he's not going to Saudi Arabia. It means at the moment he's not agreed to go to Al-Ittihad. And I think the season is young. The transfer window is still fairly young. I know a lot of people are getting into preseason and they can't wait for it and they're looking forward to seeing what comes next. But let's be real, people. The transfer window is still very young in terms of a transfer window. So we're going to have to see where this one goes. KDB is in a position where he's in quite a kind of luxurious position, really. He's at one of the best clubs in the world. He's at one of the most successful clubs in current times. He's under one of the best managers. Most people will say, why the hell do you want to leave? The only reason he will leave is for money to go and enjoy it into his retirement years. And that's why if KDB was the age of 26, I'd be poo-pooing this. I'd be saying no chance. What the hell would he go there for? At 33, at what he is now, maybe he's more tempted. Maybe he would want to go over to Saudi Arabia and end his career there and earn as much money as he can. And do you know what? Ball out over there, because that's what he would do. Trust me. So I don't think this is dead in the water. I think Fabrizio is suggesting that no, there's no agreement yet, but he hasn't poo-pooed the actual fact that they want him. He hasn't suggested that KDB doesn't want to go. He hasn't said that KDB is going to stay at Manchester City. He's got no intention. And although KDB's probably said that in the past, does he believe that now? We don't know. All of this is rumours at the moment. And this is what this is about. It's about discussing it. You want to get here we goes, go over to Fabrizio Romano or David Ornstein. I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy to tell you who's going where. But I can talk about the rumours and we can discuss it. And some people don't like to hear that. And Arsenal fans as well. They don't like to hear the fact that Real Madrid are looking at Saliba. They think if they don't hear it, it ain't true and it won't happen. Well, let me tell you, Real Madrid are looking at Saliba 100%. It doesn't mean he's going, just like KDB might not go, but it means they're looking at him. So that's why we've got to discuss it. But some people don't like to hear that. So I thought I'd get that in. Listen, there's over 200 people in here. Brilliant stuff. Make sure you do me a favor and hit the like button. I don't know how many likes we're on at the moment. 77. That's not enough, people. Come on, let's get up to 100, please. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. We're getting very close to 22K now, which is fantastic because that creeps further towards our 30K target. So please make sure we do that as well. Let's talk a little bit about a player who is on his way to Saudi Arabia. That is pretty much broke in the last few moments. And that, of course, is Aston Villa's Moussa Diaby. Now, I like this player. I really like this player. I thought he was a very good signing for Aston Villa. And it's a player, if I'm honest, that I find a bit surprising that he's going there. And I also find it surprising that Aston Villa are allowing him to go. And I find it strange at the age of a young player of, was he 23, 22, is he? He's not very old, Moussa Diaby. He's happy to go over there. Now, it looks as if this is the same club that is interested in KDB. As Fabrizio Romano has suggested, Al-Ittihad are looking first at Moussa Diaby, and then there is interest in Ederson, the Manchester City goalkeeper. So, from Romano, Moussa Diaby to Al-Ittihad is a here we go done. 5-year contract, £60 million fee. Now, that's actually quite good for Aston Villa in terms of what they've actually received from him, £60 million. I've got no idea what he's going to be on a week. I imagine it will be something mad like 350k, maybe even more than that. I've no idea. But he's a player I rate. I really like him. And I really liked him when they signed him. I was really interested in Arsenal for going for Moussa Diaby. I think you may have remembered if you watched me on AFTV, one of my last fan cams of the previous season, I was interested in getting Moussa Diaby in. And when Aston Villa got him, I was kind of a bit peeved, really. I felt there was an opportunity for us to do something there. I really did. I felt like there was an opportunity for us to look into a Moussa Diaby scenario, and I think he would have been good cover for Bukayo Saka. But he is now going over to Saudi Arabia. What are Aston Villa going to do? Where are they going to go? Because Aston Villa have got Champions League football and they've got money. How are they going to replace Moussa Diaby? They've obviously got Leon Bailey. They play McGinn out wide sometimes. They've got to now upgrade on that position, in my opinion. They've got a couple of options in midfield that I think Aston Villa will look at potentially trying to ship out. Rumours of Jacob Ramsey to Spurs. Maybe that would be a good signing for Tottenham, but that's a player that could be on the move. But they need to have a look now and see who they can go in for. It looks as if Philogene is one of the players they've got from Hull City. Is that an upgrade on Moussa Diaby? I don't think so, but he's a highly talented player. Obviously, they've got Morgan Rogers, but he's kind of a versatile player, but more for central. So Aston Villa have actually got a hell of a lot of midfielders, but not many of them can play wide from what I can look at. So I would not be surprised if they went in for a wide player. And Unai Emery, you know what he's like. He likes to look at players that he's either aware of before or ones that he's worked with before. And I think that could be the same. So watch this space with Aston Villa for who they go for. In the chat, you put kudos to Villa. Could you imagine? Lawless would go absolutely mad if Billy would never let him forget it either. That's for sure. So that's Diaby. It looks like he's gone to Saudi Arabia. And that will be interesting now because that is the club that are looking at KDB and Ederson. So what does that mean? Does that mean that they're no longer interested? Does it mean KDB doesn't actually want to go? All of this could be rumours, but all of this could have some truth to it. I personally don't like it all, if I'm honest with you. And I know that people might find that strange because, oh, wow, Dan, you should be happy. KDB and Ederson might be going. I'm cool with that bit. I don't really like the fact that it's all this Saudi Arabia stuff. I just don't like it. I think money's already ruined the game enough. And I think it's now going to a stage where it's going to completely and utterly cave it in potentially. And it could be that players do a few years over in Europe and then just go and retire over in Saudi and take a long retirement. Because that could potentially happen. And I think that could ruin it. That's just my opinion. So let's see where we go with this one. But it looks like Diaby's gone. KDB at the moment, not set to leave Man City, according to Fabrizio Romano. Things change very quickly, don't they? That's for sure. Let's talk a little bit about Ederson, shall we? Because Ederson is the goalkeeper that Al-Ittihad are looking at. Now, from what I believe and what we hear, Ederson is very interested in a Saudi Arabia move. Very interested, but they cannot agree a fee. Now, Al Nassr were the guys that were going for him to start with, but they actually put in a pitiful bid of about 30 or was it 25, 30 million? I think that is embarrassing for a 30-year-old world-class goalkeeper who's been, lighting up the Premier League for 7 years. There's no way that, what's his name? The Burnley goalkeeper. Completely forgot his name now. Gone to Newcastle. James Trafford can go for £20 million and then Ederson to go to Saudi for 30. They're going to want 50 at least, yeah? Maybe even 60. That's what Man City are going to have to be trying to sell Ederson for. If Saudi Arabia pay that, and Al-Ittihad want to go with 60 million for Diaby and a 60 million for Ederson, then fair play. Yeah, fair play. I think that could happen. Ederson looks like he's set to go over to Saudi Arabia. What do Manchester City do? Do they keep Ortega as their number one? Or do they use the 50 to 60 they get, if they do get that, and go and buy Diogo Costa? Or go and get Michael Magnon? Or go and get Jan Oblak? Or go and buy a goalkeeper that they see as their new number one? Because Ortega's a very good goalkeeper, by the way. I mean, they've definitely, for me, got the best number one and number two in the league. I mean, that's clear. I think Ortega would probably get into most teams' first team goalkeeper. So that's fantastic. But where do they go? The Manchester City fans want Ederson to stay. Do they want to see a new goalkeeper coming in? Are they happy if Ortega is the number one? I think there's going to be a lot of Man City fans that are going to potentially be a little bit worried, if I'm honest, because Ederson has been so pivotal to them in terms of the way that they play. I think Ederson is the first goalkeeper that came in under Pep that you thought, yeah, the manager totally understands him there, and the goalkeeper gets the manager. The telepathy's there. They're playing out from the back. They're using the goalkeeper as the kind of centre back at times. Brilliant with his distribution, superb with his feet, a great shot stopper. Ederson has kind of got a little bit of everything, really. And I must say, if I'm honest with you, I think he's been a little bit underrated. I think people are talking about Alisson as the best goalkeeper, which I agree with. But I think because of that, no one's really looked at Ederson and thought, how good are you? Because trust me, he is a phenomenal goalkeeper and one that will be missed if Manchester City were to sell him. So I think we need to keep an eye on this one. I think this one actually could have legs. The KDB one may not. But trust me, I think Ederson would be willing to go to Saudi Arabia. From what we hear, this has been weeks now that he's been linked with a move. Something's in it. Something's in it. Now, I'm going to say it. I'm going to address the elephant in the room. There is definitely a lot of people talking about Manchester City problems. Is there an exodus? What is happening at Manchester City? Why are they not signing anybody other than Savio? Why is Pep not signing a new contract? Why is KDB not signing a new contract and linked with Saudi Arabia? Why is Ederson looking like he's going to Saudi Arabia? Why is Jack Grealish potentially off? Why is Bernardo Silva every summer asking for a transfer move? Is it because they're all a little bit worried about the up-in-the-air future of Manchester City? Are they worried that they might not get to play at the very top if Manchester City are found guilty? Now, again, I will say this, and I mean it when I say this. Take my Arsenal hat off, put my footballing head and hat on. If Manchester City are found not guilty, I will not care. Crack on with the game, get on with it. They've done nothing wrong, stop moaning, and we crack on. But if they have done something wrong, and it is to the level that is being rumoured and suggested, then I think they should shut the book at them. Because if they have won titles with 115 charges or FFP problems or whatever it be, whatever they're found guilty of, there needs to be consequences because that cannot happen. And I speak to many Man City fans on here, and they're actually in the same boat as me. The ones I've spoken to have said, stop coming for us, come for us when we're found guilty. And I actually agree with that. If they're innocent, fair play. And you know what? I won't be one of them apologising, but there'll be other people that might have to because they've really come from and really gone for these Man City fans, which is a bit harsh because it ain't their fault. It's their club, not the fans, right? But I tell you what, if they have done it wrong, they could be in serious trouble here. And I just wonder if there are players and the manager looking at this opportunity thinking, maybe we should say this is our last year and let the court and everything deal with it. And then we'll just go and find our other clubs. I can't help but think that in the back of my mind. Why is this looking to happen now? Now, some people might say it's rubbish. Pep was always going to leave, whatever. KDB's 33 and he's going to leave at some point. And Ederson is a player we've had for 7 years who wants to go and retire in his 30s in Saudi Arabia. And you know what? It would be fair play. Maybe it's debatable. Maybe that is absolutely the case, right? But if there are breaches of rules, if there's charges of that level, I can't help but think that in my brutal, honest opinion, if there's 115 bottles of wine that's gone missing in Tesco's, someone's probably nicked some bottles of wine, right? And I don't mean to laugh in that analogy, but I can't help but think that if you've been told there's 115 in your face, something's gone wrong somewhere, right? Now, the CEO at Manchester City is saying, we ain't done nothing wrong. Nothing's happening. It's all good. But could it be that there is something they're worried about? Is that the reason that they tried to sue the Premier League? Because they believe that this rule isn't something the Premier League have set out and they're now thinking might have breached that. Let's have a chat about that and see if there actually is a rule that they've put in place. It's a mess. Let's be real. It's a mess. A lot of people said money would improve football. I think it's gone the other way. I think it's actually not improved football. Maybe I'm old school now and I enjoyed football in the 90s. And that's nothing to do with Arsenal being successful because, believe it or not, there were times in the 90s where we weren't. For me, I enjoyed it more. But it was still football in the 90s and 2000s. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't to this level. This is crazy. I remember people telling me there would never be someone on £100,000 a week. And now people are on £400,000 a week. In the time it took for us to not even get to 100, people are brushing past that now. People are going for £100 million. Money is crazy. And what's it going to be like in 30 years? What's it going to be like in 50 years? Are people going to be costing £1 billion? Are people going to be on 1 million a week? What's happening here? It's absolutely madness. So I think if Manchester City have done anything wrong and we start to see Pep, KDB, Ederson leave, maybe they know something we don't. But that is literally a rumour. That is just me suggesting that. I'm not saying that is what's happened and that's why people are leaving. That's just not the case. But at the moment, it's KDB and it's also Ederson linked with moves to Saudi Arabia. Will it happen, people? We don't know. But I hope that if Manchester City have done wrong, like everybody else, that they get the book chucked at them. If they're innocent, fair play. We move on with the game. And one thing I will say lastly on this, because I've never really gone into this, because I don't really like to look at the politics of football. I like to talk about what's happening on the pitch. And this is supposed to be a transfer news show, right? The transfer talk show should be about transfers, but when this is linked to it, I'll bring it up. If they are found guilty, I don't want any trophies. I don't want them saying Arsenal have really realistically won a League Cup and 2 Premier League titles, so we're going to say that they did it. Nah, I don't want it. Yeah, we didn't earn it on merit. We didn't actually win it. I don't want to be given anything. I want to earn it and I want to achieve it. And although I'll be very upset that we didn't potentially look to get across the line, the reality is we still didn't. So I don't want to be given anything. That's for sure. Let's do some super chats before we move on to the last couple of stories. This one comes in from Jamie. Big up, Jamie. I have to get you on, bro. It's been too long. Says, big up, mate. Hopefully this is the start of City's downfall. Yeah, mate. I know as a Liverpool fan, you're in the same boat as me, really, that you want to be trying to get as close to that Premier League title as we can. And Manchester City have been the thorn in our sides for sure, bro. But big up to yourself. Make sure you go follow Jamie, people. Unbelievable content creator and one that we definitely need to collab with a hell of a lot more. Toby, big up, bro. Hope you're well, man. Long time no see. I hope you're all good. Says, hi, Dan. What do you think of our links to Duran from Villa? Kyle Walker-Peters and Tomori. What else do you think we need in our 11 for next season? Hashtag West Ham. Now, I don't want to say this too loud because Dan Lordos will get very cocky and he was supposed to join me tonight, but he wasn't able to get on here on time. Toby, I think West Ham have had a really good start, bro. I think they have. I think they've, you've got a couple of players in that will probably be back up. I think and you get Foderingham and someone like that in goal to replace Fabianski. Obviously, Areola's in goal. You're sorting out your back line. Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Kyle Walker-Peters looks to be coming in at right back. There's links with Todibo. There's links, as you say, with Tomori. You've brought in Max Kilman. You've still got Ugarte, who I think is a good player, but had some problems last year. Ogbonna and Zuma need replacing. Mavropanos is still there for cover. Emerson in at left back. I think in your midfield, you are, from what I hear, allowed to play Paqueta until his ban or investigation comes to an end. So you'll have Paqueta, James Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, Bowen, Kudus. And if you can get a striker in like Duran and you can bring in a couple of players, Reece Nelson being linked with you guys as well, who's to say you're not going to have an all right season under Lopetegui? I don't think it's going to be David Moyes style in terms of trophy, European football regularly, all that kind. I think he was disrespected a little bit by the fan base, if I'm honest, because I never thought West Ham would be in that place, but they were under David Moyes and because of him. But I don't think that Lopetegui is this boring manager that's like Tony Pulis football. I actually think he's probably a little bit more exciting than David Moyes. Not by much, I will say that. But actually, if he can get you playing his style and he brings in the players he wants, if you promote some of your youth, because I think West Ham definitely have got an academy that I rate, I think maybe you can have an all right season. And what I mean by an all right season is because it's a rebuild, I think you could push for the Conference League places. Yeah. I think personally, 8th, 9th or 10th for West Ham and a cup run would be good. And I've never understood why West Ham don't take the cups more seriously, by the way. If you've got Brentford at the weekend, but you've got Everton in the cup, don't rotate at Everton, beat Everton and then rotate against Brentford. Because if you draw against Brentford, you might go from 11th to 12th. But if you lose to Everton, you're out of the cup. I don't know why West Ham, Everton, Brentford, Wolves, these teams need to take these cups seriously, man. They could do a Wigan. You could do a Hull. You could do it. You could do a Swansea. This could happen. So I don't know why teams don't do that. But there we go. That's the way that it is. Let's talk a little bit about Manchester United, shall we? Manchester United worry me a little. It's not because of their manager. It's not because of their players. It's because of who's come in at Manchester United to take them forward. They already look a little bit more serious, don't they? Now, I'm not saying, oh my God, look at these signings. They've got Mbappe's and Vinny Juniors are coming in. It's not about that. They're building from the back. They're looking to get rid of the players that I think they need to get rid of. When players like Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, Varane, Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay, Anthony Martial are all leaving the club, that ain't good, because they're the players that we've been laughing at and clowning, yeah? They're now going. And the people they're bringing in aren't mucking around. They are footballing men. And they've highlighted Lenny Yoro, who's definitely one for the future, but is ready now. He looks a phenomenal centre-half for his age. They want Jared Branthwaite, but Everton are quite confident they can keep him. They want De Ligt. They want Ugarte. And they're starting to build what I think could be the start of something pretty good at Manchester United. Now, we need to see it work first. I'm not going to start going mad and saying, oh, Man United are in a title race now, because they're not. But Xerxes is a signing that could be interesting. I think it will give a little bit of less pressure, or put a little bit less pressure on Højlund. I think they'll get in a couple of wide men, because I don't think Sancho and Antony are going to be there, if I'm honest. Or if they are there, they're not Ten Hag's men. But I think they'll have a good window. I'm going to talk about Ugarte in a minute. But the big question is, can Ten Hag do it? I think he's got like 10, 12 games, if I'm honest, at Man United, to prove that he can put them in and around the top 4, which I think would be respectable for Manchester United. If I was to predict what I think now, with the structure in place, and with Ten Hag, who I don't rate, but I don't think is a clown and shambles of a coach like some people do think, I think they could go for top 4. I fancy Liverpool, City and Arsenal at the moment to finish above them. But they could get top 4, because I've no idea what Villa are going to be like with Champions League football. I don't know what Ange is going to do at Tottenham and how many players he's going to bring in or be backed with. I don't know what the hell this Maresca is going to be like at Chelsea. Will Eddie Howe be back with Newcastle if they keep their best players and add to them? Potentially, yes. So I have no idea. But Man United are in that mix. And I said this when the season ended. I can probably predict now that City will win the league and Arsenal will come second. That's what I believe right now. I hope we have a window that changes that so that we can go ahead in the race for that and be favourites, right? But for me, after that, I have no idea from 3rd to 10th. I wouldn't have a clue. I would have absolutely no idea so far. So I think we have to be realistic about what Manchester United can achieve. And I think Man United fans are saying, look, we've won 2 trophies, but the football's been dire. We've had no plan, no structure. Ten Hag's had injuries, but doesn't look very good when he has got his players fit. There's no style of play. This ain't looking good at Man United. But that things can quite easily change. And I've said this to Terry on the terrace. If I'm a Man United fan and these footballing men are coming in with a structure, I'm saying in 2 seasons, I want to be title challenging. I want this season to be the one where we push. And then I think next season is the one that we go for the league. People might think that's crazy. But the amount of money Manchester United spend, that could happen. 4 transfer windows, millions of pounds spent. I think it can work. If, and I say if, they get things right. And that is the big if. We've got to see it work now. Manchester United are too big a club to go a decade without a Premier League title. They're too big a club to be not playing Champions League football. They're too big a club not to have won a Champions League game by now. They're too big a club not to be winning consistently at the major honour level of football. And although they've got 2 trophies in the last 2 years, not many of the fan base are happy with where they are. Trophies will keep you managers in the job. They'll keep the fan base happy for a certain degree. But if you can't believe you're going to be back winning the major honours the next year, then really you're winning it on a bit of luck. So I think Manchester United could be back, ? But the players need to come in now for the rival fans to be going, oh, wow, they're moving again like a proper club. Now, Lenny Yoro coming in is a brave move. It's ambitious. It's beating Real Madrid to a signing very hard to do. But they've got that right. They need to keep going. And Manuel Ugarte is a player who I think can come in and do a very good job. I don't know what the future holds for Manchester United's midfield, but I can imagine if they get Ugarte in, it will be him and Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes in that midfield. They've still got Mason Mount, of course, which they're going to look at, but I think they might look at someone else. And that someone else might be Adrian Rabiot. Now, Liverpool, Man United, and Arsenal, I roll my eyes with that one, and I'll tell you why in a minute, are all linked with Adrian Rabiot. Rabiot is a player who's definitely got talent, but he ain't been able to settle down yet because he's a bit of a hothead from what we hear. There's something wrong with his mentality. There's something wrong with his attitude. And Manchester United are linked with him. It's a free transfer. I don't know how much you'll want a week, but I think this one has Man United written all over it. I think it's a player that will come in. Rabiot, Kobbie Mainoo, Ugarte, Bruno, and Mason Mount. They're probably all going to be in their midfield there, right? That's not a bad midfield. It's quite a good strength and depth, to be fair. But something tells you Rabiot is not really the guy that comes in and takes Man United across the line. But he could be if he fits in up here. Maybe he gets to that age and he calms down a bit, because from what we hear, he's a bit of a hothead, a bit of a nutter. So let's see. Kobbie Mainoo, I think, is a fantastic midfielder and one that I think we'll have to watch next season. I look at the scenario of Bruno Fernandes, a player who, if you put everything right around him, can flourish, but not somebody you'd look at on your own with his whining attitude to get you across the line. So I think that if you put the right pieces around Bruno Fernandes, you've got a good player there. He's been scoring goals and setting up goals and assisting goals for fun for Manchester United for a few years. So Man United, are they back? Question mark. We don't know. Ugarte has agreed personal terms with Manchester United. Okay, so that's a player that I think will probably end up there. Adrian Rabiot, it's an easy deal for Manchester United to do. It would not surprise me if we went in and saw that Man United were signing Adrian Rabiot. So that's Man United. Let's finish, like I always do, on Arsenal. Done a show earlier about Calafiori, spoken about how I think he's going to fit in, spoken about Eddie Nketiah, who's linked with a move to Marseille, spoken earlier about Reece Nelson, who's linked with a move to West Ham, and I've spoken about Smith-Rowe in terms of how Crystal Palace are looking at coming back in for him, and Fulham also looking at coming in and bidding for Smith-Rowe. There is some other news. Obviously, pre-season is amongst us, and it looks as though we have our squad that's been announced that is going over to the States. It doesn't look too strong, let me tell you that. The squad itself is quite young. We knew it was going to be with the Euros and Copa America players coming back from that. It does look quite weak. However, Tomiyasu could miss the whole of pre-season after sustaining a knee injury. There is no timescale. It was publicly announced for his recovery, but sources indicate initial estimates of sidelining for 2 to 3 weeks. That's come from James Benge. Now, this is a player I like, but poor old Tomiyasu is made of glass, and it is starting to get frustrating. I'm a fan of him when he is fit. I think he's a player who plays across versatile positions, but Tomiyasu frustrates me because he's a player who, for the last, 4 years that we've had him, has been injured every single season for a period. And people have spoken about Kieran Tierney, who's also injured at the moment. But he's been actually injured more than Kieran Tierney, Tomiyasu. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know what he does in training, but he needs to toughen up a bit because it's getting rather silly. That's for sure. I don't understand what it is that he has done. Knee injury. How? What is he doing? Is he twisted? Has he turned funny? What has happened? But as reported here, James Benge has suggested that he is out. And he's going to be out pre-season, and that's a big blow. That is a big blow for Tomiyasu. He needs a good season. He needs a season where he's fit. And it is a shame that these rumours are true because it's a frustrating one. I'm a fan of Tomiyasu, I really am. And it's massively disappointing. But there are rumours again, and it is about Mikel Merino. Now, apparently, according to Matt Moretto, there are reports over in Spain about Mikel Merino. He's obviously back from winning the Euros with Spain, and he wants to think carefully about which path to take after deciding not to renew with Sociedad. So he's deciding to leave. He will leave the club. But where's he going to go? Well, at the moment, apparently, the team that have been most insistent are Atletico Madrid. Arsenal have made some calls. What does that mean? And inquiries. What does that mean? But there are no official offers yet. This is an easy deal for us to do. He's £20 million. That means it's easy. Where it becomes difficult is where he wants to go. There is a lot of rumours suggesting that he might want to go over to Barcelona. Now, if this is true, then like Nico Williams, if they've got their hearts set on staying in Spain and Barcelona are interested, then potentially both of them could go. And to be honest with you guys, for 60, 70 million pounds in total, this is two very, very good deals. 20 million pound for Marino to come in as a squad player as a left 8, and 49 million release clause activated by Nico Williams coming in at left winger. We've got two fantastic signings there. I hope that we are interested in both these deals, and I hope that the rumours are true about Arsenal wanting both players. But can I see it happening? I don't know. I'm not so sure. I think Barcelona, if I'm honest, will probably be favourites for both of these. But if we've sold the project to both Williams and Marino, I hope they choose Arsenal. I really do. Here's the confirmed news about Kieran Tierney with a hamstring and Tomiyasu with a knee problem, not travelling to the USA, for pre-season tour, and will remain in London to receive treatment. Let's hope they both have a speedy recovery. But it is confirmed that Gabriel Magalhaes, Gabriel Martinelli, and Kai Havertz will all join the Arsenal squad for pre-season from the 25th of July. Meanwhile, Declan Rice, Aaron Ramsdale, Bukayo Saka, David Raya, and William Saliba will link up with the squad upon their return from America, because, of course, they were playing in the Euros in the latter stages. So there's no shocks there, in my opinion. This is the full travelling squad. It's very, very hard for you to see, so I'll read it out. We've got Cole Hine, Tommy Setford, more on him soon, who signed for Arsenal, Lucas Nygaard, another new signing, Alexi Rojas, Ben White, Zinchenko, Timber, Josh Nichols, Jacob Kivior, Aidan Heaven, Omar Rekic, Thomas Partey, Jorginho, Michael Rosiak, Lewis Skelly, Erdegaard, Smith-Rowe, Vieira, Ethan Waneri, Mini Salah, as we call him, Jimmy Gower, Leandro Trossard, Reece Nelson, Sego Jr., Gabriel Jesus, and Eddie Nketiah. Now, that does not look very impressive, does it? We're not going to pre-season in America by seeing most of our best players. We're seeing a lot of youngsters. Now, not that there's anything wrong with that. There isn't. But I will say this. It doesn't really prepare our first team going into the first game against Wolves very well. So I imagine most of our pre-season with our first team will probably be when we return in the Emirates Cup and the other games we've got before that. So, yeah, that is probably where we're at. As for the other news, it is, of course, Tommy Setford. He is saying that he is very proud to announce his transfer to Arsenal, and even prouder that he can now officially call himself a Gunner. I look forward to developing further at this amazing club, first up to our pre-season tour in America, and I can't wait to get started. This is the under-20s goalkeeper, born in Amsterdam for, I think it was around about £850,000 that we signed him for. He looks to be coming in and competing with the youngsters that can goal. Is he going to be our third choice? I don't know. But he has said that he already knows Ethan Waneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly from his time in England. They're great guys, and I can have a good laugh with them. I spent a few camps with them, so I know them well. I just saw them for a quick meet and greet. So obviously, he's well known with these guys playing in the unders for England. He also says he wants to thank Arsenal for this opportunity. He can't wait to hit the ground running and looking forward to learning new things next season and pushing himself to another level. For the short term, it's very important now to get a good feel for the group. So, this is happening. Where is he going to play? Do we believe that he is going to be a third choice goalkeeper? Do we think that Tommy Setford is going to come in and be the backup goalkeeper? Because at the moment, there's rumours that Aaron Ramsdale may be leaving. Or is Tommy Setford just going to sit with the youngsters and actually be one of those guys who potentially develops with the youth team and moves forward? I really don't know. It's the answer. I need to see what happens with Ramsdale. I really do. If Ramsdale leaves, I'm kind of worried, guys. I'm not going to lie. Because I feel whatever happens, Ramsdale leaving means that we've downgraded our goalkeeping structure at the club. There's a vision, for sure, that Arteta has, being a third-choice goalkeeper. Rumours of Dan Bentley still coming in and being that third-choice goalkeeper with Setford set to be that kind of youth academy goalkeeper. That means there will be another second-choice goalkeeper coming in. And Juan Garcia is the one we're looking at from Espanyol. So Arsenal could buy Garcia, Setford, and Dan Bentley and sell Ramsdale. That's not an upgrading goal. So I will question that. And people don't like me questioning it. I've said this before that I think the goalkeeping situation can still be upgraded even upon Raya. and that would allow Raya to be number 2. I don't think he'd like that, but that's what I think sometimes you have to do to be ruthless. Is David Raya a world-class goalkeeper? I don't think so. Is David Raya at the level of Alisson or Ederson? I don't think so. Is he better than Martinez? No. Is he better than Diogo Costa? No. He's not better than Oblak. He's not better than Michael Mignon. So we need to try and get the best goalkeeper that we can. We need to try and get the best centre-halves that we can, the best defenders that we can, the best midfielders, strikers, wingers that we can. And if David Raya comes in, it's great. Like Ramsdale was great. But he's upgraded on the goalkeeper more than once. Is he going to do it again? That's a big question mark. That's the news of Arsenal. And I want to finish by saying a massive thank you to you all. The views have been fantastic again tonight. Well over 300 of you. Make sure you do me a favor and hit the like button, please, people. That would be amazing. Thank you both for your super chats, Jamie and Toby. Absolute legends. Thank you for all of your comments and interaction in the chat. For those that are just joining, KDB news is not true. The KDB news, according to Romano, says that nothing's agreed. There are other reports suggesting that KDB might be on his way to Saudi. Ederson likewise. So that is what we've discussed tonight. Please go watch it back if you would like to, and if you've just joined. 163 likes in the chat. Please make sure we get that up to 200, please, people. All you've got to do is click the like button, hit subscribe. And if you do want to join, as some people are members here tonight, you can join the membership by hitting join and following the instructions. So please make sure that we subscribe, because I want to get that up to 30k ASAP, people. I'm going to be back in the morning at 8:30 for all the breaking news this morning overnight to talk and round up everything that's happening in the Premier League and across Europe. So please make sure you join me in the morning at 8:30 for a Monday morning. I hope you've all had a brilliant weekend. Please do me a favor and like and subscribe as you leave. And I will see you bright and early at 8:30 in the morning. Peace.